Hey, welcome back. Thanks for tuning in to another video. Today we're going to be talking about getting back on plan once you've fallen off the wagon. So today I woke up looking like this. Not a pretty sight. Reason for that is I decided yesterday to just go fully off the tracks. Now, it started off as a really relatively decent day where I thought I was going to stay on plan. Turned into something that I ended up using around 150 to 200 sins. That's how easy it is to go off plan. So yesterday I went to Comic-Con in Cardiff and I had so many good intentions. I didn't take any food with me, I didn't prepare, but I knew that it was likely I was going to be surrounded by stalls selling all the things that I shouldn't be eating. But I told myself I didn't need them, I didn't want them, I'd wait until lunchtime, I'd go and I'd have something sensible and I'd call it a day. But it seems that the best laid plans sometimes go awry, because as soon as I was in there and I was surrounded by the sights and the smells, I buckled and I ended up going well over my still allowance. That wouldn't have been so bad if I had just come home from there and then got straight back on plan. Instead, I decided to call a poker night and I ended up eating entire bowls of crisps and a whole bottle of whiskey. Completely wrong. So you might notice I'm looking a little bit fresher faced now, and the reason for that is my hangover's finally gone and I'm now able to really fully concentrate on getting back on plan. There are two types of off-plan days for me, the ones that I plan and the ones that rear their head without me realising it's going to happen. Yesterday was one of those days, but there are a few fail-safes that you can put in place regardless of your reasons for going off plan to make sure that you get back on the wagon. I think a lot of people sometimes can find it difficult once they've gone off plan, once they've had that splurge, to actually motivate themselves to get back into it. I woke up today really not feeling the plan. All I could concentrate on was my hangover. I wanted greasy food and lots of coffee. But it's important not to let that kind of thought overcome you. Now, if I'm going out and I know that I've got a bad day planned, perhaps I'm going out for a party or a night on the town or something like that, where I know that I'm going to go over my sins, what I will always try and do is plan ahead. So I know that I'm going to need food there ready to pick at so that I don't go for the indulgent things. So I'll sometimes pre-cook food, put it in the oven, leave it there for the next day, freeze things so that I can just take it out of the freezer, pop it in the microwave and it's ready in a few minutes. The best thing to do is always sort of foresee where you're going to go wrong. I know for me, once I've had a couple of drinks, all I want to do is eat. It doesn't matter what I'm eating, I just want to eat. So if I can try and fill myself with good foods, so I've got things all around me that I can pick at to eat, it makes getting back on plan that much easier. Of course, one of the terrible habits that we have, myself and a lot of other people, is once we're off plan, is just thinking, oh well, I'm already off plan, I may as well carry on. And that's really a habit that we need to break out of. Have those parties and have those nights out, but make sure they don't affect the rest of our week. If and when I'm actually drinking, especially if I'm doing it in the house, like last night when I had people over, I will try and get snacks in so that I know that I'm picking on things that are either really low sin or completely sin-free, because I know as soon as I start drinking that whiskey, I am going through the bottle of it, so I can't really afford to be using my sins on other things. Now, last night's a prime example of why that went wrong. I didn't know that it was coming up, I didn't pre-plan it, and I ended up going through bags and bags of crisps. We had two huge bowls, we just filled them up in the middle of the table and we picked, and there was easily probably 18 to 20 bags of crisps between 5 of us. So I mean, that really is a lot of intake of sins that I could have done without. I really didn't prepare myself, but I'm not going to let that carry on to today. Today, as soon as the hangover wore off and I stopped being angry at the world, I went downstairs, I started on a plan, and I've started drawing up all of the foods that I'm going to eat today. This morning, the first thing I had was an egg sandwich. It was incredible. It wasn't a greasy fry-up, but it felt like it was a naughty treat. I used my B choice and the eggs were free. I am still completely on plan. What I did find though, and something I have discussed before, is because I went so overboard yesterday, I started to feel a little bit guilty, like maybe I shouldn't eat anything today. And that's a really rubbish, terrible habit to get into, so don't follow that. Now I'm admitting that to you because I want you to know that even though that thought entered my head, maybe I should go without food or eat the absolute bare minimum, I'm not going to do that. That is not good for me, and I don't want to be tying guilt into eating food again. So I've made sure that my food for the day is completely planned out. Now I'm not really in the mood, and I'm probably still over the limit, so I'm not going to be driving to any supermarkets today. So I've got to make sure that the food that I've got in, I can use to my best advantage. Now I don't have a lot in my cupboards or my fridge or my freezer, but I have got all the things that I need to be able to put a decent free meal together. And I've written down exactly what I'm eating, exactly when I'm eating, and the ingredients and how to cook it. So I'm going to make sure that I completely safeguard myself from going off track today. Because as soon as I start going off the rails, as soon as I start telling myself, well, you know, it's only 2 days till weigh day, I might as well just carry on because I've already had a bad week. And that's not the way to look at it. Now I might go away on Tuesday and it might turn out that I'm going to have a gain, and that'll suck, but it's not completely undeserved. But that £2 gain that I may or may not get on Tuesday is going to be a whole lot better than a £4 gain if I spend the rest of today eating crap and the rest of tomorrow eating crap and saying I'll just start again once I've weighed. Start your week right now. It doesn't matter if your morning has been crap, it doesn't matter if it's 7 o'clock in the evening and all day has been crap. Do not put it off till tomorrow. Do not put it off until after you've weighed. Start again now, because every single time you are off plan, you are making things harder for yourself. How many people, I'll put my hands up here, how many people have lost weight and then put it on and then had to lose it again? You are doubling the amount of work you have to do. I am so guilty of that sometimes, but I'm going to make sure that I am going to stick to plan like glue. Even though I would rather be lying in my bed, surrounded by empty packets of chocolate and empty packs of crisps, and just enjoying a lazy Sunday, I'm going to make sure that I am not going to let one off-plan day ruin the rest of my week, and I'm not going to let it dictate what those scales say to me on Tuesday. I've spoken before about how important it is to keep a life balance when you're on Slimming World, because you can't shut down. These things happen, these impromptu days out and the planned nights, they all happen, and you can't stop living just because you want to lose some weight. So what you've got to make sure you do is find an absolute balance so that you can still go out and enjoy yourself like I did yesterday and still manage to stay on plan for the rest of the time. If I get a gain this week, it will be a shame, but it's not going to be the end of the world. And I do still have some really fun memories from yesterday. Yesterday was a really good day, so I wouldn't change it. There is a big difference between going out or having something planned and just sitting in the house binging for the sake of it. Now, I've done that as well, and it's not ideal. I think when we sit at home and we don't really have a reason or an excuse for going off plan, we just decide to do it because maybe we can't be bothered, maybe we've had a bad week, maybe we just don't have the energy to look for something better. It gets really, really difficult because I think we go into a negative mind space and we start telling ourselves, I don't care, I want this, I've done it myself, I don't care, I don't care. I want this bar of chocolate and I don't care that I'm trying to lose weight, and I don't care if it takes me over my sin allowance. I do care, you care, I care, we all care. Otherwise we wouldn't be on this journey at all. But it is so easy to fall into that negative mindset where we just tell ourselves that it doesn't matter. It does matter. So if you're finding yourself going off plan, if you're finding yourself really, really struggling to find that motivation, go back. Remind yourself how many times you felt miserable after eating junk food. Remind yourself why you started on this journey in the first place. Go back, look at the pictures, look at your before pictures and see how you look then compared to how you look now. Because even if you've lost £1, £5, a stone, 10 stone, you are on that journey, and you do not want to derail yourself just because of one bad day. Don't forget you can get to me on Twitter and Instagram, and please, 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 if you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe.